America, I'm going to challenge you today to make a real difference. Today, I'm going to challenge you by the end of the show to make that change. It was better when Michael Jackson said that, wasn't it? Make that change, although he was a freak. I read an amazing excerpt from some blogs and some emails of a survivor in Japan. An American who teaches English in Japan. Here's how she described the atmosphere. Listen to this. No one has washed for several days. We all feel grubby, but there is so much more important concerns than that for us now. I love this peeling away of non-essentials, living fully on the level of instinct, of intuition. There are strange parallel universes happening. People are lining up for water and food, and yet a few people are out walking their dogs. She continues, somehow I can feel my heart opening very wide. My brother asked me if I felt small because of all that was happening. I don't. Rather, I feel part of something happening that is much larger than myself. That is the spirit of Japan. She goes on to talk about how somebody, when people leave, they'll come back and people will have left food on their doorstep. I want to bring in a couple of guests. Michael Aslan, he is the Director of Japanese Studies at the American Enterprise Institute. He is the author of a new book, Pacific Cosmopolitans, Cultural History of U.S.-Japan Relations. And Norio Nishi, he is a Japanese national living in America. And Norio, please give the translation of your first name. I love this.
Nori means man of order, harmony or order, and O means man. So maybe that's right there.
And that's part of the thing about Japan that I don't think we really understand. It is order.
Yes.
Right? It comes from actually living under samurais for a long time.
Exactly.
Right? And I want to get to that history a little bit because of the problem with the government. That kind of changes things with the government. And you actually wrote an op-ed piece. Was it in today's Wall Street Journal?
Today.
Yeah. Today's Wall Street Journal that talks about look out because the government could do some things here. I think nefarious people can do some things to change a constitutional republic in a crisis this large. But I wanted to talk first about, because we have given, I think, what is it, how many billions of, $64 billion, $1 million to the Red Cross in the first 6 days, and it was over 200 for Haiti. And I don't want to talk about why that might be happening. I want to talk about different ways that we can help so we don't lose ourselves. You had a great suggestion about the troops.
Yeah, I thought there was possible for people to actually try to contribute to our troops who are working round the clock. You know, they're working 24/7 since this thing hit, bringing in supplies. They're on the ground with their Japanese counterparts trying to clear out and do rescue missions. And we can always support them. We can reach out to the USO. We can reach out by sending care packages. There's lots of different ways, I think, to let them know we understand they're part of this. And without them, I think this would be a much harder operation. We've delivered hundreds of tons of supplies already, and so I think we could help our troops in that way.
Real quick, I don't want to dwell on this, but I do want to ask each of you, do you think there's a reason why? I've heard, well, it's because we think Japan is a rich nation. Do you think
well, I think that's partly, that's true. You know, when it comes to third world,
right,
we have to.
Right.
But, you know, when it comes to Japan, it's almost like an economic competitor, or sometimes some part of the industry was...
but there's competitors. I mean, maybe it's just we live in a business world now where you have to destroy the other. There's competitors, and then there's competitors that make you better. There's friends that are competitors. Do you have any thought on why this is happening?
I think people have been just overwhelmed by the scale, and they're slowly beginning to, you know, if you go on the web now, you can click at different sites. And I think that people will give a lot, but I think that Nori's probably right. We look at Japan and we think, you know what, they have a lot of what they need, and it's coming in from other parts of the country, but I think everyone feels they want to help.
Okay. On the bottom of your screen, all throughout this program, we'll show you how you can help, and I'm going to make a challenge to you by the end of the program. Back in just a second. Japanese national that has lived in this country for about 20 years, and we were talking about the difference between even just our legal systems here. And you were just about to get to a really important point, the difference between us. What is it?
Yes, so it is the concept of omoyari in Japan, that the virtue, meaning you have to give the utmost regard and respect to your neighbors, to others, transcending your own interests, your own needs and wants. But in the modern legislative society, it becomes the other way around.
It's all about me.
It's about me, my right, my wants, my needs.
All right, I want to switch gears here because we've been following the Japanese story, I think in a different way this week than everyone else, and we've also been following a different story of the Fogel family. This is a story that is amazing to me, and you don't find it anywhere. I am struck by the good versus evil of this story. In Israel, terrorists killed a father as he slept in bed after Shabbat dinner. They stabbed and cut the throat of his 3-month-old infant in his arms. The daughter, who was lying next to him in bed, his wife, was brutally murdered as she exited the bathroom to hear, and she put up a fight. The terrorists went on to kill 2 more sons, stabbing them to death. It was a brutal, brutal scene. I have seen the photos. One of these children was 4 years young, the other 11. Fogel's 12-year-old daughter came home to this horrific scene, and 2 of her brothers were spared from death because they were hidden in the darkness. In the ultimate sign of strength, the 12-year-old Tamar swore to be a mother to her surviving siblings. The grandfather went on to give this beautiful talk about how we cannot be angry or look for revenge. And a little girl showing incredible strength as the Palestinians then celebrated. They were passing candy out in the streets, honoring this horrible act of terrorism. Candy. There is a powerful darkness growing, but as I have told you before, I grew up in Seattle, so I know, noonday, when the sun can be at its brightest, there are clouds up there. Shadows aren't quite so dark, but when the sky is clear, the shadows become very, very dark. The shadows become black. It's as the sun is at its full brilliance that you notice it. And you have a choice. Are you part of the light or the dark? You can stand in the light or the dark. Lightness, I warn you, will always win. It may be a tough slog to get there, but light destroys darkness. Darkness can never destroy light. Our greatest physicists could come into this room and they cannot open up anything that will bring darkness into this room. One of the cameras show all the lights. Nothing can bring darkness into this room. Nothing. But I can send my daughter down to the Home Depot, give her $6, and she can bring light into a dark room. Turn off the lights. Turn them all the way off. For $5 or $6, you can pierce the darkness. But it doesn't work the other way around. I will show you, beginning next, on how you can be a symbol of light in growing darkness. I just told you the story of a horrific violence against the Fogel family in Israel. Dark, dark act. But I'm going to ask you now to become a symbol of light and make a choice tonight in the face of darkness. Rabbi Joseph Posnick is the executive vice president of the New York Board of Rabbis, and he is here with me. Rabbi, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, and thank you for doing this.
Explain the candle.
There is a statement in the book of Proverbs that the soul of a person is like the candle of God, that through light we give light to others. You can take one candle and light many others, and in no way does it diminish the integrity of that one candle. And that person also can bring light and love to many others and still remain an independent individual. So the Fogel family began the Sabbath with the kindling of light. Mm-hmm. And now we're lighting a candle in their memory.
Okay. Tonight I would like to ask you, because there is another tradition that is not just on the Sabbath, but when someone passes, that you light the candle. Tonight is the week anniversary of the Fogel family's death. And also, it was a week ago today, wasn't it? The earthquake hit, wasn't it? Yeah, a week ago today. How many thousands of people have died? I would like to ask you, as a viewer to gather your family together tonight and to light a candle and explain to your children what you're doing, why you're doing it. You obviously don't have to explain the brutal details of the Fogel family, but if they're old enough, you should. Light a candle and make the choice today, to bring light into the world. Normally you say a prayer.
Yes, you do. One of the statements we say is, may God grant you comfort and sustain you amongst the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem. We say that at the completion of a mourning period. And lighting the candle says, now we have to go back, resume our lives, and restore some of the light in this dark world. And there'll be many people who'll be lighting candles for the Sabbath, and this week lighting an additional candle for the Fogel family.
The darkness that, I mean, I can't even begin to fathom the Fogel family story and how it's not getting coverage. You feel the growing darkness. Do you feel the growing light?
Yes, I do. I do see people who are making a difference. I see how our community responds to this tragedy. You spoke of the Japanese courage during a difficult time, and I'd like to think that we have a responsibility to remind our children that there are many decent people there.
Light a candle tonight. Do it for a reason. Back from New York. Good night, America.